Today I thought I would officially start documenting my process of making my own dummy wedding cake. You might have seen from my last video that I have been doing quite a lot of practice in this certain vintage design, buttercream piping work. Behind me is the rest of the cake that I'm attempting to finish today. I did get really ahead of myself and completed the first two bottom layers of the cake because it's going to be quite tall, and so I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to insert a picture of the style of cake that I was going for right here. So it's more of like a very vintage, late 60s, early 70s style of cake where they're on like pillars or piers. I love the olden day sort of vintage style, and it will match my dress. It will match the whole vibe. I'm wearing like a vintage pearl necklace, long white opera sleeve gloves, and so that's the sort of style that we were going for. Most weddings that have quite a large cake, at least half of the cake is fake. So it's kind of like a regular thing anyways. But initially we wanted to save money because to get that sort of cake done, fully cake or even like half of it real cake, would have been at least $1,000. Probably looking more like $1,500. The fake cake that I will be making has come up to $200, but I'd like to mention that $100 of that, so half of the amount, was spent on like startup tools. So we've saved money in that, and you're probably wondering, well then what are the guests going to eat? We are ordering pre-cut slices, so we're getting around 120 real slices of cake with just like plain white icing on top. So that was the whole idea. These are the first two layers that I did. So these are the bottom two layers. So it's gonna be quite a tall cake. And I've left the design extremely simple, just because if I do too much with these shells and stuff, it can look quite over the top. I'm also planning on putting some fake flowers or real flowers to kind of make it look more wedding-y. Now I'm going to try and finish a big chunk of this cake, and I will show you exactly how I went about doing it. So let's go. Very important that you get off all of this putty off of the blade or off of the surface each time, otherwise you're not going to get it smooth ever. So I've just got the bucket down here and I'm scraping it into the bucket. Just wanted to point out that I'm not really that concerned about the corners because I'm going to be doing like piping along the edges. So like certain areas like that, I'm just not that worried. Okay, so obviously this is looking far from smooth and perfect, but the top layer is going to be covered by another layer of cake, and so I only really need this much of the top to be smooth, and the majority of the edges are like decent. Not much of it's going to be shown because the next layer is it goes almost to the edge, and I'm going to be doing shells all around the edges, and also all of these edges will be covered up. So really all I was trying to accomplish is that the middle part was relatively smooth. Obviously, couldn't get that. But like this side, I'll pick that as the front. Probably, because it's just... maybe not that. I don't know. Usually pick a good side. Maybe... yeah, maybe where I was. Somewhere here. That'll be the front, because it's just the smoothest. But yeah, the majority of this will be covered. So now I can get to putting it on a board, and then I think I will do the fondant around the edges. Then I can finally do the piping. You won't be able to see that, so relax. Don't worry about the powder either, because you can just brush that off once it starts to dry. So that looks kind of like that. And then we're going to put shell all around here. So what I will do is I'll also push this down a little so that I can still pipe the shells like on top. Okay, so now I can start piping the shell border. I'm going to grab a new bag, cut the top off. For the shell border, I use this big guy, which is a 4B, just like a star. We're going to insert that into the bag, because I don't have like large switchy things. So something like that. Roll it up a little bit, and then it's literally as easy as, oh, put on my gloves, then scoopity boop up, straight from the bucket, into the bag. Try not to rip the bag. When you hold this, you want to push gently and then twist once, so that that's giving enough pressure. You don't have to keep like squeezing it. You're going to need to clean the tip every now and then, so I'm going to keep this in my hand and we're going to start. I've changed it to the 18, and now I'm just going to be doing the part that covers up this section. For this one, you have to spin it at the right time, otherwise you don't get the right flow. That's how it looks. We'll do the same for the bottom. That's that one done. The top is going to be covered, and so now I just got to put it in a safe spot to dry. That took me over 2 hours to do. 2 more layers of cake to go. So here it is, sitting next to the other 2. The next layer will not be plain like this, so it'll be like the top layer over there with the pearls and the curtain sort of things. I can show you that it's starting to look like a proper cake. I'm gonna pop that somewhere safe to dry. Also, my bridesmaids came over yesterday and did their bouquets. What do you guys think? I think they turned out so beautiful. We were almost not going to get the ferns because I was just like, oh, they're a bit too orangey, but wow. I think they make them look so much more realistic. We also added some lovely bows. So yeah, they look so nice. I think they look nice. I'm gonna pack them away soon so that they don't get dusty. So this is the aftermath and the reality of not owning a workspace and just doing stuff at home. This is the mess. It was so much worse when I was doing this first one. Because I was doing it in the dining room, but today I'm doing it in the lounge room, and yeah. I just snapped a skewer and like shoved it all the way in. So now I'm going to mark out where the things are gonna go. Okay, so I've marked out where all the loops, I don't know what to call them, all the semicircle drapes sort of thing. It's not perfect. Just kind of did it quickly, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm aiming to go with that. So I'm just changing to the other size, which is a 17. Gonna pop that on. Easy as. I just wanted to point out that disappointing that I did this one shorter than the rest of them, because the rest of them look really nice and even, and then there's one random short one. Probably put that at the back though. This will be the front. Yeah. Something that I have learnt is if you want it smooth, you're gonna have to add water. So right now I'm just focusing on considerably flat top. Wipe off your scraper. You don't need like a lot. I think I'm going to sand the top, and the top is going to be in the middle, so I'm not worried about this hole that I'm putting there. That's what I've been doing to each of the layers. So now we're going to transfer it onto the round 9-inch board, round cake board, and then I'm just going to do everything that I did for the last one with the fondant around the side and then piping. once again, I'm gonna change to different size. Point. And that's all the shells done. Now we can pop the pearls on. These are just normal beads, so they have holes in them. So I need to put them where you can't see the holes. And each time I do a shell, there's like a little flick on the end. I try to just squish that down with the pearl. So this one doesn't really need, but push it in nice and firmly, otherwise it'll pop out. I thought I might as well show you the topper. This is the very top layer. So this is the topper. I thought it matched the vibe. It's quite cute. That's the last layer. And this will be the front of this layer, I think. Let's just go ahead and pop this with the other layers that are on the table. Gotta be careful because it's still wet. But yeah, once it dries, you won't even be able to see that middle part. And yeah. So here it is, sitting with the other layers. This is my wedding cake. Still not sure what I'm going to be doing about the color because it's truly extremely white. I am planning on putting fake flowers. I've already bought a few. I want it to like match with my theme, which is like lavender purple. So I'm yet to find some realistic looking purple flowers and just pop them around the cake. Also, I'm having crystal pillars and I need to assemble the whole thing, putting a topper on. And also a big part is that I was meant to leave a slot for this section. I was meant to leave a slot so that I can put real cake, so that when we do the cake cutting, I'll be cutting into actual cake and we can eat it, to make it just seem more realistic. But I forgot to do that, so I'm going to have to get a very sharp blade, sadly, and cut a section of the bottom layer, I think. Yeah. I was going to do it for the second layer, but I was like, nah, I'd rather do it for the bottom layer. And so I'll be making that little extra piece of cake as well and trying to fit it in, trying to make it look even. Still not sure about the color. I might end up like spraying it all. Like, see, this is more of, the fondant is more of like an off-white, so I might be doing that. But for now, this is how I'm keeping it. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. It hasn't actually taken me that long. I finished it within a week of like 3 separate days, just sitting and doing it for hours on end. Looks pretty okay. Looks alright. Off to the next part, I guess. So these are the pillars. Ooh, there's a price tag in there. These are the crystal pillars that I'm going with. I'll show them to you probably later, but I was just testing out how the cake looks. And the sun started shining on the cake, and the crystal, they're actually candle holders. I tried to get ones that looked okay. This is only the first 2 layers. The other layer is still drying in the other room. But look, it's got this nice effect. If there's any sort of sunlight shining through on the day, we'll have some of this. Pretty cool. A little bit on the cake. I'm going to sand down the tops. It's just a little bit rough, and I thought I could sand it since it's like wall putty. I'm going to do that for both the top and bottom layers. Then we can figure out how I'm going to situate the glass candle holder pillar thingies. Yeah. So this is about as smooth as I can get both of them, which is fine. They're going to be covered by other layers anyway, so should be alright. This is the front of the cake-ish, around here. So the pillar can't be like in the middle. It has to be 2 at the front, 2 at the back. Right? Can't be like a diamond. So that got me thinking that I actually can't put a slice. I can either cut out a slice directly at the back or directly on the side, because the pillars should not be in the way. I just had to consider where I'm putting the pillars. Yeah, since this is going to be the front, the only thing I can really do is the side. I'm going to have to cut out a piece from the side. I can't really do it at the back, because then it'll look really weird just cutting it right from the very, very back. People are going to be like, ah. So on the side, I think I'm trying, this is the opposite side. Just imagine this on the other side. I'm trying not to include this little detail with the pearl and the shell, because I'm going to have to recreate all of this with real icing just for that one little slice. So I'm trying to actually get a piece that's like just this dip here, so not including the pearl and everything, because then I have to find an edible pearl and it's just extra work. So I'm just trying to do this little piece here. Got a really sharp knife. Hopefully that works. I'm really, really scared that everything's gonna start cracking. Probably will, but we'll figure it out as we go. I have marked out where I'm going to be cutting and it'll be this section here. So I'll still be leaving this and I'll still be leaving that. It'll just be this section. So if we can make our first little, see, it slices in really easily. I'm just worried about when I take out the knife. Don't want it to start chipping. So I've got to be very slow with this. It actually worked. I went super slow, but now when I take this out, there's so much foam. So that's the piece. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to keep this, because I'm pretty much going to have to replicate it when I make the real cake. This is what it looks like. That's all the foam. Now, do I put some sort of layer so that the foam doesn't keep escaping? Pretty decent, actually. Just gonna fish out all those little bits, and I might actually put some more putty in the middle just so that it stops flaking away. So happy that none of the top cracked at all. It was very slow. The thing about this putty is that it's spongy. It's like the other brand that I used, if I did this, definitely would have cracked all over here. It feels spongy. Like, can you hear that? It's like it's set, it's just sponge. So I'm guessing that's why it didn't actually crack. That's gonna be the front, and I'll cut it on the side there. So the biggest obstacle for me is going to be finding out how to connect all the different components. I have no idea how I'm going to connect the pillars. Although they're heavy, still don't want them to like, still don't want all the different pieces just to be like balancing, you know, we want them secured. So I had a crazy idea. These are candle holders, and so they have candle holder sized, tea candle sized openings on the bottom. So if I could glue or fasten some tea light candle something, I can just kind of pop it on top and it'll be secure. But then how am I going to secure the top? And it's difficult because someone's going to have to put it all together for me, know how to situate it, how to, which sides of the front, how to put it all together, where to put the flowers. So I'm considering pre-gluing the flowers because it's hard. It's a big ask for someone. So I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible for whoever is going to be setting it up. So that's why I was thinking, if there are things, rather than like gluing everything down on the day, if I could just like pop some things in place. Also the topper, like the little husband and wife, I don't want it to just be sitting on the top. I want it to be like clipped into something, or I'm not sure. So these are all the little things that I need to figure out. Anyways, I'll see you soon when I begin to start to assemble and whatnot. Hopefully when they fully dry, they'll be hard. I can just peel them off, stick them on the other underside, and then they'll just like slot right in. Try to figure out a way to put the topper on, because there's holes underneath. I'm sure there's a proper way of doing this. Usually if you've got real buttercream, you just smush it in there and it kind of stays put. I just don't really want to take that chance. There's nothing to smush it into, and I don't want to just like plop it on top. Scratch the straw idea. Going for the skewers. When I transport the top tier, I'm just gonna stick this in to the surface, and it should stay because it's touching the top of the inside. Cool. So, for some reason, I just finished mixing all the colour. The fake cake is not pure white, it's like off-white, and so surprisingly I had to put green, a little bit of yellow and a little bit of green to get the closest match that I possibly can to the fake cake. So now I'm just gonna do the middle, put some jam, and then do like a crumb coat and let that set in the freezer. And then maybe after like half an hour I'll ice it properly. But that's the closest color match I could get to the cake. So let's see how that goes. And I gave it a good mix in the process, so that's good. So what I've done, so I've got a straw, cut it to about that much, and then I've placed it inside. So that the layers don't move around. I'm not going to put any icing on the sides, just the top. I'll put that in the fridge and the freezer. Oh, okay. You have no idea how many breakdowns I just had. So long story short, the color of the icing is like way off. I mean, could be a lot worse, but I matched it to the top layer, which I guess was, I feel like it was pretty close, but maybe the icing oxidized or something, is that the word? And so I was like, okay, I don't really mind that, let's just put it in and see how it looks. I gotta put it in, doesn't really fit, and I'm trying to shimmy it around, and then it just falls. It just fell. And that took me like an hour and a half to do. And I picked it up gently. Most of the icing was still on it, but it was completely, I had to scrape it all. And I was like, you know what? Because there was two options. I can either keep the separate piece in a little box and then pack up all the fake cake, and then someone, because I won't be there, but someone has to have the responsibility of putting that single slice of cake into the fake cake and make it blend somehow. And I just tried to do that myself, and it was awful. Like, it was already decorated. So what I did was I smushed it in there once it fell, picked up all the crumbs and stuff, and then I smoothed it out as best as I could, regardless of the obvious color difference. It's really sad. I'm really, really sad that the color is not the best. But then I tried to smooth it down as best as I could, and then I piped on the designs. I'm going to show you what it looks like in a second. I'm either going to do two things. I'm either going to, which I don't think I'll do this one because I just don't really have time, but I'll either redo it with the right shade of cream, or because of the time, I think I'm just going to be covering this section as best as I can with flowers, so that, yeah, you can still tell if you look up close, but you won't be able to see like the edges, and from afar, or from like, it will blur out the color difference and the obviousness of it. I'm gonna show you, and I know you don't have to tell me. It's not the best. Wow, it looks so much worse on camera, especially next to that white flower. Hoo-wee. I don't know what compelled me to put yellow. I really have a feeling that it changed color though. But other than that, the designs match up. This is the front of the cake. I've put flowers there to purposely cover it, so you can't really tell too much. It's just the colors. The color is just awful. The color is so bad. But like I said, I'm thinking of just like plopping a whole bunch of flowers over it. Like, I'll take the flowers out before I cut it, but just needs to be covered or changed. I just really don't have time to change it. I'm gonna cover it up with flowers for now. I've got some just random white flowers. I don't have any more roses, otherwise a rose would have been good to cover it up, but I can't touch this section either because it'll smush. So just gonna put it near. I'm sorry I didn't show you me decorating this because I was just like distraught. So guys, talk about putting a bandage over the situation. Obviously it looks awful from this side, but there's a lot going on. Oh dear. It's a little bit less recognizable now. I'm gonna pop the other layers on and see what it looks like. Alright guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you like. All in all, I'm very happy with how the cake turned out. I got it home safe and sound. Looking back at pictures, I'm very pleasantly surprised at how realistic the cake turned out to be. And it was perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. Thanks once again for coming along, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!